A person cautiously follows a winding road at night using only the light on their phone to guide them. They sense danger on the right and look over. Nothing is there, but their feeling of being watched does not go away. So they look over again, and that's when they make contact. A short creature with a portly body atop long legs does its best to escape the flashlight. At 1 minute and 36 seconds, we see that the overall gray coloring of the creature, when under the light, does match the rest of the background remarkably well. There's no obvious blurring around the edges of the creature either, which indicates that this may in fact be authentic, unedited footage. YouTuber Hype Mike and his crew completed the 3 a.m. challenge, which he says changed their lives forever. Let's see how. Part of the challenge involves banging pots and pans together.
2, 1. Yo. What happened? That's got a back. Matt. No, me too. I'm not even doing it. Wait.
After splitting up, they're in the cellar, where a chair starts rocking on its own, and then they hear a scream.
Okay, we're so. Oh god. I have my watch. What the f is that? Shh. What happened? I don't know. Get there. What are we gonna do?
They come out of their hiding spot and find one of the crew's flashlights abandoned on the floor.
Dude, what? Someone's flashlight. Uh-oh, that's not good. That's not good at all. Hello? Hello? Shh.
Then they hear something on the stairs.
What? Wait, talking. Dude, something's up there. Under the table.
What is this figure? They watch and listen in horror as the thing moves around. Later, they spot the figure down a hallway. They realize it's not their friend, and in the end, they nearly get stuck inside this home forever.
Dude, it's coming. From which way?
The stairs. The stairs.
The stairs. Okay,
away from it. Get away from it. Away from it.
Windows? Yeah. Windows. There's nothing.
No, I'm telling. There's another exit over here, bro.
What was that figure? Was it the devil? 3 a.m. is the devil's hour, so I'd put my money on it, and it's no wonder that these guys' lives have been forever changed. I don't think I'd ever sleep again. Next time you're wandering through a forest, look out for the trees. They might just be hiding duppies. Posted to YouTube by Javahan Ferguson in January of 2020. This video purports to show proof of a duppy caught in a tree. What's a duppy? Meaning ghost or spirit. The concept originated in Central Africa. Caribbean folklore in particular grasped onto the supernatural nature of the duppy. Many residents in fact claim to have seen them. The malevolent spirits appear most often at night and are meant to haunt the living. In the video, the so-called duppy woman appears to somehow be perched atop a tree. She is waving to someone or something beyond. If not something supernatural, how is this woman managing to stand or float atop a tree like this? And if she is a duppy, what imaginable malice does she intend to induce? A tropical storm has passed through here, and aside from causing a messy yard, this family seems to have been largely spared from the bad weather, or so they think. Luckily, everyone is alright, and fortunately, the tree didn't go through their house. So if you live near the woods and have a serious storm pass through, remember, this scary CCTV video is exactly why you wait until it's dry before going outside. Christmas is apparently a time for scary things caught on camera, according to one grumpy ghost who is not exactly in the holiday spirit. I'm not 100% convinced that this scary ghost video is real, but I have to admit it's awfully strange how their dog barks right before it happens. It sounds like the dog knows something is already in the house, something paranormal, or perhaps they are simply using a string. Maddie and Elijah are ghost hunting with a guide named Eric in an old asylum that has over 80 rooms of horror to investigate. Let's talk about this door. They think somebody scratched at it for hours, and I think that's what it looks like, but I seriously hope it's termites. To support their theory, these scratches at 10 minutes and 55 seconds do look like someone took their nails to the wall, as well in a fit of madness. Later, they hear this distant moan. I definitely think this sounds like a person, but let me know if you can think of some other explanation.
So that's it.
What the f? Did you hear that?
No.
So that's creepy, but what I want to talk about more than anything is what happens after Elijah makes the mistake of holding a haunted bridal doll. This crazy noise is the spirit's response to being asked what her name is. It sounds wicked and definitely like nothing I'd want to be in the same room as. Even Eric admits he has never heard such a harsh EVP come from that doll before in all his experience as a tour guide, and he also says nobody has ever touched her before, so I think it's real. And as further proof, look what happens when the doll is asked if she's upset about being touched.
Are you mad that Elijah came in and touched the bride?
Judging by this paranormal ripple effect of negative energy caught on camera, I'd say yes, she was. A married couple stationed at Fort Irwin in California are relaxing at home when suddenly their motion-activated baby monitor turns on to reveal some scary stuff caught on camera.
That's a little weird. I don't know what it is.
What they suspect is a small ghost hand waves at them excitedly. When they move the camera a few degrees over, it's mysteriously gone. It isn't long before the ghost hand reappears to wave at them some more. The backstory on this one is sparse. They say their house is haunted but don't go into more detail. They also say the hand moves way too fast to be a human, and I agree that's true, but only because this is probably a piece of dust on something up close. This New Orleans restaurant called Tableau's is thought to be haunted by a ghost who will punish you for what it perceives as any bad beverage selections. Here a waiter is preparing the room for a private party and has finished stocking the refreshments when, coincidentally, the bottles all fly off the shelf and land in the exact area he had just finished sweeping. 3 separate comments in this video further verify that this restaurant is quite haunted. One person said the window in this very same room unlatched itself, another said the fire alarm went off on its own, and a third person said they are never going there again because the spirit was staring at them. These comments, combined with this video evidence, is enough to build a strong case for the paranormal in my opinion, but let me know what you think. Published by Jay Conturn in June of 2016, this small humanoid baby does indeed look like something out of this world. And actually, this creepy video purports to show an extraterrestrial embryo. The shiny, slimy-looking flesh-colored creature has a head, 2 arms, and a spiral-like tail. It also appears to have tentacles wrapped around its neck. Its eyes are just fleshy circular imprints in its forehead. Is this really an extraterrestrial embryo? Some other known creature? Or is this just a well-done hoax? Whichever it is, there's no doubt this thing is mysterious. JP Videos is exploring a seemingly haunted abandoned house when he gets some really scary stuff caught on tape. The place has fallen into a state of disrepair, and it only gets creepier when they find rotten steps leading into the basement.
Alright, let's go down the creepy spiral staircase. Oh, got hooked.
The mattresses look to be cleaner and newer than anything else down here.
Creepy mattresses down here. It's like a partially finished basement, but just random mattresses laying around.
And the blinds are pulled closed like somebody has been sleeping here recently. Hopefully there are no strangers down here because a surprise encounter would probably not be pleasant. The basement stretches across many different rooms. JP is getting all of the hidden rooms on camera when some really scary stuff is caught on tape.
These are my favorite type of explorers too, just abandoned houses, you know, seeing contents from the former owners and just trying to imagine what took place here.
A lone crib on display in the center of the room gives him a nauseous feeling.
But this, okay, little creepy.
Fastened around the top is a plank of wood with other pieces of scrap wood laying nearby. When tied over the top with a rope, this crib becomes more like a cage that is too small for even a toddler to stand in. Multiple mattresses in the corner create the impression that this building has been overtaken by numerous squatters. I seriously hope no one was left to fend for themselves in that crib. No food or water, hopelessly and cruelly trapped under these two boards. Anyone who's still in school has no doubt learned by now that remote learning is not very fun. However, every once in a while something will happen to liven up the lesson, or in this case, make it absolutely terrifying. This teacher has been cooped up all by himself for far too long and really doesn't seem to be enjoying his job or much of anything nowadays. To make things worse, the students keep playing a joke on him by saying that there is something watching him from behind. He knows that students like to mess with their teachers however they can, and so he tells them that it's just him and his dog living there and no one else. Little does he know how truly wrong he is.
Tanto el movimiento no existe, relacionado con lo que dice Raúl, el gato de... No me suena la tinga en alemán, pero en inglés.
Around the corner is the pale grim face of a ghost, half covered in shadows as it peers in from the dark hallway. I wonder if her other side is twisted and disfigured. We never get to see. In true paranormal fashion, the scary face dares not to enter the light and retreats before its discovery. The teacher goes on to explain that he just moved into this house, and so there's no way anyone is behind him.
Estoy con mis perros.
But once again, he is schooled by the supernatural.
Por ahí, en ocasiones, las llamadas paradojas. ¿Alguien sabe qué es una paradoja?
The door opens without anyone touching it, and as the girl retreats into the next room, his dog, who has been quiet this whole time, starts barking out like a stranger is near. It whimpers as he closes the door. The poor thing definitely doesn't want to be left alone. Two YouTube ghost investigating groups team up for this video, but they find something even worse instead.
Because you know for a fact that's going to catch everything down there.
It already looked bad when they first found it, but the flames are twice as wide and twice as tall by the time the authorities arrive on scene. They have to be diligent as they lift the rubble up to check for signs of flames in the middle. If they miss a single burning patch, this whole situation could happen again tonight. When the first responders leave, the team checks out what it was. Someone who was putting this entire forest at risk so they could burn trash. When they thought burning it was safer than dumping it is beyond me. They were either extremely foolish, didn't care, or were trying to do it on purpose. Perhaps all three. This footage comes from Vietnam, where all sorts of strange creatures are rumored to still roam free through the wild and unconquered forests. This stuffed humanoid in particular has been deceased for quite some time, possibly for decades, and now looks discolored and slowly falling apart. It appears to be half man, half snake. Long blonde hair grows from its human-like head, which is furry all over yet also covered in straw blonde facial hair. Two rodent-like arms stick out from its fur-covered upper body. Its face looks like a cross between a man and an ape. The nose looks like it belongs to a primate, but the gray lifeless eyes and smirking mouth look like they could belong to a person. Its scaly lower half looks exactly like a snake's. Watching this thing in action must have been a terrible and shocking sight. How such a creature could come to be is unexplainable, yet here it is. Perhaps there are even more of them out in the wild. Sometimes if you want to know if a room is haunted or not, all you have to do is ask.
Move it.
Holy sh**.
It's creepy, but I'm not sure this object really moved on its own. It sounds like a fan is blowing from side to side and could have moved the object instead of a ghost. Tell me if you hear it.
Holy sh**.
He might have put the bottle at just the right distance to make it seemingly move upon his command. Is this moment paranormal to you? I'm on the fence with this one. There's a famous pub in Sydney, Australia called the Carlisle Castle Hotel. For years, this local watering hole has been haunted by the ghost of Old Pete, a bitter ex-employee who left the earth quite some time ago, but not his job. His ghostly antics have been caught on camera no less than 3 times. The first time Pete was caught on tape, he was helping a customer. The unsuspecting man opens the door to the cooler when Pete decides to grab 2 bottles of red wine for himself. His ghost grip must have not been too tight though, because both bottles go crashing to the floor. Looking at the footage, there's no way that the shelf gave out or anything like that. The bottles were thrown to the ground with deliberate force with no one nearby. Another incident occurred when the bar was full of witnesses. Everyone is happily enjoying themselves when a hanging red wine glass suddenly dislodges itself and smashes into the counter. Glass shards fly everywhere and the entire bar takes notice. Although this could have simply been a freak accident, what are the chances that, of all the red wine glasses, the one that's directly underneath the server happens to be the one to fall and break? The timing is almost too perfect to be a coincidence. Old Pete strikes again. The third and final tape reveals a glimpse of Old Pete himself. The bar is empty this time when the angry ghost suddenly materializes in front of the security camera. If you look closely, you can make out Old Pete's head at the bottom of the screen. He appears to be waving. Many other bartenders and customers all claim to have seen Old Pete for themselves in one way or another. It isn't uncommon for tapes to turn on by themselves, and the bartenders have seen what they can only describe as strange things while counting down their registers after close. To make this all even stranger, all of the bottles that go crashing to the floor are always high-end red wines. This just so happened to be Old Pete's favorite drink, at least when he was still with the living. This bizarre home CCTV video reveals a scary moment when a mysterious shadow figure creeps across someone's front yard, moving down and to the right and running along the length of their fence. I guess it could be a bug flying by, but the way it comes from around the house and continues through the yard is the same path a person would take on foot. The person who took this video thinks it's probably a shadow figure, and after reviewing the paranormal evidence, I believe him. 3 bankers have a conversation during a slow day when the silhouette of a child darts across the empty lobby. Watch this part and try to translate what is said immediately after. The lobby area gets plenty of sunlight, and yet the figure looks completely covered by shade. Not a single detail is visible as it runs by, which makes this CGI or a shadow person. And when they go over to where it just was, nothing is there at all. You never hear the door open or any footsteps. It's simply gone. Is this a time-traveling ghost? Posted by Tay Harley Quinn to the Chills Narrators subreddit. The Redditor's Ring camera caught something that made her look twice. The video clearly shows a car drive past, then behind it a transparent figure can be seen ghosting along after it. One Redditor has an explanation. Maybe the running person looks transparent because of the camera glitch or bad quality, he writes. He's fast, so I don't think that's a person at all. The Redditor responds that her camera is usually very clear, and she's never had a problem with it. Another commenter, Snorlax Lynn, tags onto the thread saying that the truck would have had a glitchy effect too, had it been a camera quality issue. Some suggest it's a spirit on a bike, others think it's the compression of footage quality, which tends to make images look somewhat transparent if they're small and far away. What do you think is going on here? It's time to investigate. A ghost hunting team led by paranormal investigator Lavina goes exploring a haunted chapel in Dixon, Oklahoma, or they try to at least. Getting into the haunted place is not as easy as it would seem.
What the? She went to open that door and it come back on her.
At 42 seconds, one of the investigators opens the door a crack and it slams back with an unreasonable amount of force. Something from the other side, something paranormal perhaps, does not want them to go any further. They take the hint and don't stay for much longer, but apparently something has no problem opening up their door and coming with them for the ride home, as evidenced by this paranormal activity caught on their ghost meter equipment.
Is there a speaker following us?
Oh my.
Their paranormal equipment flips out when she gets stern with the supernatural.
You need to leave now.
He said no.
Lavina must have asked too many questions because soon she goes into a trance-like state and begins to nod even though she was very active and alert moments ago. She stares at them with an expression they do not like or recognize. As they wrestle the ghost meter out of her hands, her eyes are not how they've ever seen before.
Lavina. Give me that.
You gotta go. Look, we need to go.
Give me that. Give me that thing.
Even she does not recognize herself. Tell me if you think they're acting or not.
You see it? Oh my eyes are like glowing.
Yeah, like a bloodshot.
I am more skeptical, except faking this part doesn't explain the door slamming shut by itself, or the ghost meter responding to their specific questions in real time. With that in mind, I think this paranormal investigation might be real. The evidence was probably not worth it in the long run, considered they may have inadvertently forged a spiritual attachment to something beyond the grave. Morgan Adams is a popular YouTuber who doesn't ordinarily focus on paranormal content at all, so when she recently suspected that her house was haunted, you know I had to take a look. Let's go over the evidence and see if her suspicions are correct. She claims to hear tapping and scratching on the walls, which could be an animal, but then there's whispers too. When this happens, she uses Snapchat and almost always detects a second face nearby. She has named the spirit Angie and it seems to have become quite attached. Angie often responds to her own name.
Angie! Oh my god! Angie, you have a lot of new friends that would like to say hi. Oh my.
Though Snapchat could be mistaking the shelf behind her for a winking face, and these two objects on the wall for eyes, Angie typically lurks around the corner of the house reserved for overnight visitors, coincidentally the same area where her dog Ollie absolutely refuses to go. Even with the promise of a treat, Ollie will only allow himself to go so far before he refuses to budge. Some dogs have trouble keeping their balance on hardwood floors and can actually develop a fear of them over time. I thought that could be Ollie's deal because he puts one paw on the wood and stops at 9 minutes and 8 seconds, but at 8 minutes and 52 seconds he has no problem walking on the same type of floor, so that can't be why. I think Morgan Adams could be giving a verbal command for Ollie to sit when she says okay at 9 minutes and 8 seconds. You tell me if Ollie is doing a trick or if he senses something and is too nervous to go forward.
Come on. Okay, come on.
I don't think it's fake because then she tells him to come on and he still won't move, and when Morgan gets to the end of the hall, she hears a noise and shudders. Plus, Ollie isn't the only animal acting weird. Her cat will freeze at the door like someone is on the other side, and Morgan even hears knocking sometimes.
Cut it out right now. Stop!
There's never anything there, and yet the cat stares at the wall as if something has its attention.
Literally? I'm gonna freak out if you don't stop. Oh my, there's orbs, literally.
An orb of light also flies in the direction that her cat is staring. Odd indeed. Oh, and there's also this strange Snapchat photo taken in the middle of the night. It could be something photoshopped, but I see something more to it. To the left of the shadow person, I see a face on the wall, and another peeking out from behind the covers. It almost looks like the exact same from a photo taken at the mountain pass, where Angie the spirit first followed Morgan home. And if you're wondering where Angie is in the photo, check out Morgan's shoulder. The dark hair is not hers. Finally, one night her dad lets it slip that the property was built near an old burial ground. Tell me if you think he is telling the truth here or not.
Do you think our house is haunted?
Nope.
The way he pauses and looks away makes me think he could have been trying to avoid saying anything that could make his daughter worry any more than she already has been. So is all of this real or fake? I'm 50-50 on this one, so your opinions will help me decide. A coffee shop in New Jersey, known only as the Cafe, is rumored to be quite haunted. This used to be a hardware store long ago, and every day at 3 in the afternoon, the old owner is said to still make rounds. A paranormal investigation team sets up a camera to test the rumor out, and sure enough, at 3 in the afternoon, this light anomaly plays against the wall. It looks like someone is walking through the room at first, but then again, it could simply be light reflecting off the window of a vehicle driving by. Roughly half an hour later is when a second camera records this chair moving by itself. First it pulls out and then it smoothly goes back into place like somebody sitting at the table. There are no strings on the legs and no visible shadow on the wall, so I think it could have been a ghost like they say it was. The ghost hunters also claim to have heard footsteps too, but unfortunately the video evidence does not have sound, so there's no way to verify that part of their investigation. This happened in May of 2020, so hopefully we get more potential ghost sightings from this coffee shop in the near future. A security guard is walking up a stairwell on his overnight shift when he hears this. Posted to TikTok, Simon Lockhart shines his flashlight on the floors below and above and can't tell from which direction the footsteps are coming, but then they come running at him.
Oh my, what the f? What the f? Bro.
If your heart just jumped into your throat, you're not alone. Some in the comments say they see a face in the door. When he looks up, do you see it? Is this what is chasing him?
Oh my, what the f? What the f?
This ghost is hungry. Published by Pilot Error Podcast in December of 2020. This woman was finally able to capture on camera what had apparently been happening for a while. After hearing a noise in the kitchen, she grabs her camera and waits. That's when she sees this. The cupboard is opening just a little bit at first, then it opens a little wider, and then, instead of running away from the spirit, this woman runs toward it.
Open.
And once in the kitchen, things get worse. Is this poltergeist just inviting everyone to dinner? And will you attend? Should be an interesting enough meal. If you ever question the paranormal, maybe test your skepticism with this video. This footage was captured in the Czech Republic and posted in January of 2012. The uploader writes, "This footage will prove once and for all ghosts exist." The clip shows a snowy road in the darkness of night. A car is stalled in the road as blizzard-like conditions swirl all around. Then in front of it, a semi-transparent figure appears. There is a glow at the top of what would be its head, like a flame. It stops in the middle of the camera's purview before disappearing again. Some in the comments note that the thing, whatever it is moving in the opposite direction as the wind and the snow. Commenter Denise M. Sanders suggests it was a person who was hit while crossing the road and passed away on the scene. Many agree that this looks like legit paranormal activity. What do you think? Multiple instances of objects moving on their own has a YouTuber named Callum Tonner convinced that his Seattle house is haunted by a fearsome poltergeist. Lots of bizarre activity is frequently caught on camera, so I'm going to analyze the top 5 videos of best paranormal evidence. In the first weird video, he claims to find a coat hanger swinging back and forth in the closet. I will say that they could have pushed the object themselves before recording and then pretended it was a ghost. Normally I would say this video is fake, except this is far from the only scary event in which objects were caught on camera moving on their own. And the other videos are much harder to explain. Later that night, with the haunted closet behind him and its doors open, a completely different object is caught moving on camera on its own.
What was that?
Even if you were moving a magnetic object under the table, I still don't think it would be strong enough to move the other objects through the heavy wooden desk. He creates the paranormal experiment again 4 nights later, and if you weren't able to tell what the 2 objects are, it's a flashlight moving across a phone that's turned on. And here's the thing, any magnetic force strong enough to move an object that large should also cause damage to the phone, which it doesn't. The phone is fine, and therefore I think a ghost is moving the flashlight. 4 more nights later, the ghost has apparently taken to shuffling through his private card collection. And even more haunting, paranormal activity is caught on camera without any explanation. If you were thinking that he bent the cards or something to make them fall over, but not what's happening, you can see more of the cards in this video. They look perfectly straight and evenly balanced, so tell me how these sturdy objects are caught on tape moving. Paranormal activity is all I can think for these super creepy and mysterious events, but I'm open to any other explanation. A YouTuber named The Modern Mombi is sipping her coffee while pumping gas while she notices someone watching her get into her car. She lets it slide until she sees him looking at her again.
But yeah, he keeps peeping us.
She is making a video probably in the hopes that it will make him too ashamed to continue, but he looks straight at her and seems to smirk. It's a weird and creepy expression that he has no excuse to keep making if they are strangers. Maybe he thinks he recognizes her, but if that were the case, staring at her instead of saying hello is rude and suspicious to say the least. Then again, maybe the camera is the only thing keeping him from being more intrusive. He eventually gets in the car and drives away. That's when she realizes she's in her work uniform and hopes he won't be staring at her sometime soon at her job.
And there is literally sounds coming in my basement right now, and it's freaking me out. Kids are upstairs asleep, and I'm gonna go down and check right now. This is freaky right now because I rarely go in my basement. It's an unfinished basement.
A YouTuber named An Everyday Canadian has been afraid of his basement ever since he recorded an incident that he cannot explain.
Oh, what the is that sound?
Fear grips his throat, but he knows what he must do. He'll never know what's causing the scary noises if his only reaction is to stand in the doorway. He knows he will be going down the stairs into the basement where a scary thing is waiting to be found.
Like, I don't even want to go down there. It's dark. Hold on, guys. Let me just get my light on here quick. This is freaking me out.
He thought the only thing scarier than going down there would be not knowing what it was. He was wrong.
I hate basements. My laundry machine just stopped. It's just me in the basement. What the was that? What the?
Sometimes the source of a weird noise in your house is scarier than you can imagine. Sometimes going down in your basement results in witnessing paranormal activity that you wish you could erase from your camera and from your mind. And sometimes it's a toy on a string. Did this statue move? Writes a person in the comments section of this marble statue video. Some other people agree. It does, but I can't say that I necessarily see it. At 45 seconds, this Snow White statue maybe looks like it sways slightly if you look hard enough, but that has to be camera movement. Maybe this is what they're talking about. What do you see? Even ghosts are trying to go to college. Published to YouTube by Philip Potgieter in March of 2016, this freaky school video was captured at Helpmekker College in Johannesburg, South Africa. The footage shows a phantom figure gliding down the hallway at around 11 at night. It edges towards a wall and merges into what we can assume is a classroom to the right. The figure disappears without further explanation. Is this ghost just heading to its next night class, or does it need help from Help Mecca to cross into the beyond? A YouTuber named Jimmy Camp is walking through the woods when he comes across a white church next to an old graveyard. He walks up to the window and finds everything empty. He is calmly admiring the scenery when suddenly this old melody plays. The music abruptly stops, and Jimmy takes off before he can see who is playing, if anyone. One thing about this video rubs me the wrong way. Jimmy claims that this church is abandoned, but the paint job looks kind of fresh, and the gravel driveway hasn't grown over. I also noticed that someone has swept leaves off the porch, so maybe this was simply a live person playing. Then again, maybe this spirit has also been doing some groundskeeping lately. The historical Winchester Mystery House was basically built to be a nightmare. The Queen Anne-style Victorian mansion in San Jose, California, was the personal residence of heiress Sarah Winchester, who started building it in 1886 and didn't stop until her passing in 1922. Not having a master plan, the enormous mansion features such oddities as secret passageways, staircases to nowhere, and hidden rooms. The home is said to be haunted. Posted to the r/ghosts subreddit by Resident Science 525, this scary video may have captured one of them. The footage shows a short staircase leading up to an exit in the Winchester Mystery House. As the camera pans for a moment, a semi-transparent figure moves past the staircase. The Redditor writes that there are no windows or air vents in the hallway, and no reflective surfaces. So what is this? Or should we say who? A paranormal channel called Gene Ghost Bangladesh goes exploring one of the most haunted abandoned places in his country, an old house in the woods where scary things happen to anyone who dares enter. Scary things like disembodied voices speaking from within. And strange noises coming from where no one is standing. And living vines move across walls. Watch this part and tell me if you think he was passing out from fear or a spiritual encounter. He recovers and they think they see a shadow figure looking around the corner. In front of the house is an all-seeing eye next to a doorway that spontaneously ignites in flames. Across from the flaming archway is this hand-painted altar with 5 candles on each side of a star, and outside could be the red handprint of a recent sacrifice. The drawing of an evil-looking goat-headed creature on 2 legs gives me a sinking feeling, and I really don't like how a large white orb floats into it at 33 minutes and 20 seconds. The flames burn taller when they see this figure on the wall, as if the 2 events are somehow connected. They return to the altar and find creepy dolls have been pierced with steel wire through the head, and that's when... There's a scream and the creepy dolls begin moving on their own, while everyone is standing out of the room. They don't zoom in all the way, so maybe it's on a string, or at least I hope so, because if not, then that is some really scary stuff. This footage comes from a hotel camera in New York that's near Niagara Falls. Shane Sovar is a hotel manager who claims to have seen a large triangular UFO shoot past by his window one night. An on-duty hotel security officer backs up this claim and says that he saw it too. They contact an amateur UFO group called the Aerial Phenomenon Investigations Team, who does a standard investigation and leaves. Things get very odd soon after. Around 2 weeks after the aerial phenomenon was finished their investigation, a pair of men dressed in all black suits reportedly entered the hotel and began to interrogate witnesses for more information. They specifically wanted to know where Shane and the hotel security guard could be found. Shane said that people who had spoken with the men later told him how strange they looked. They were tall, pale, had no eyebrows or eyelashes, and basically looked exactly the same. They had especially large and unsettling eyes, and one woman told Shane that she felt like they were able to read her mind. Whether these two men were simply businessmen on vacation or actual government agents is anyone's guess, but Shane swears that he is telling the truth. Exactly what the team of UFO investigators had found during their investigation, along with whatever these men were looking for, has never been released to the public. In 2014, Paranormal Lana created her channel, and it soon became one of the fastest growing channels in the scary community. Her channel had reached over 50,000 subscribers, until on a September day in 2015, her channel vanished without a trace or reason. Since then, theories have abounded online about what caused her disappearance, though some think she just became bored with the platform. A more disturbing theory has picked up interest. Shortly before her disappearance, she posted the following on social media: "Had a pretty scary stalking incident, so unfortunately I'm having to change the way I run my social media. No more Facebook." Since then, many have wondered if this stalker had a part in her disappearance. It's certainly plausible, but since there's been no update since 2015, we will never know for sure. So many YouTube videos, so little time. Many videos published to YouTube never even see the light of day. Posted in September of 2019, this creepy little video was discovered on the French website PetitTube. For those who don't know what PetitTube is, it randomly lands on YouTube videos with low viewership. Some have no views at all, others usually under 100 views. The short clip appears like nothing more but a random drive down a dark road at night with a slightly eerie flickering streetlight up ahead. The glow is strobing out, lighting up the trees in the distance with a haunted house effect. The driver turns off his headlights to provide the viewer an even creepier shot of the strobe street light. Music plays in the background. A feeling of foreboding creeps in, as it should. Wait until the end of the video. You won't be disappointed. Now that is bizarre. According to YouTuber 01 Supernatural Studio, a gambler lived in this place. He lost all the land in a bet and then chose to take his own life. Let's see if his presence remains. The ghost hunter quickly gets a reading.
黄色，不稳定。黄色，我跳到红色。好 ，OK， 那这个地方怎么废弃的？我现在就来告诉大家。
Inside, his meter spikes.
来镜子前面测测看磁场吧。哦，镜子这边红的耶。而且某方面来讲，这样的镜子会不会形成一个通道
？The spike occurs right next to a mirror. Could this be a portal into another world? As he continues his search, he hears a voice.
客家发音哎。小孩子的声音。
Here it is again with the infrared on. He asks the spirit to touch a paranormal device.
请教一下，就是那他的父母亲的灵体还在这个地方吗？如果还在的话，摸一下好吗？谢谢。
It seems to me that the spirit is here, but what the spirit's intentions are remains a mystery. A YouTuber named the Starbreed notices a bright white object floating upwards. and starts recording. The weird object somewhat looks like a street lamp, except it's way up in the air and seems to be heading in the starbreed's direction at a fast rate of speed. Moments later, it is only a fraction of its original size and hovering directly overhead, twice as high as before. The starbreed continues to record in total disbelief, not even so much as making a sound, just quietly zooming in. Just when it looks like the unidentified flying object is about to go away, it does something completely different instead. He records a brief strobe light effect and then the UFO is gone. Looking back at the footage, the starbreed has little doubt that this was actually an abduction attempt on him that was aborted at the last possible second. I'm not sure if this was a real encounter or just CGI. As I said before, it almost looks like the UFO could be one of the street lamps edited. Take a look at the evidence again and let me know what you think really happened here. Published by El Paso, yeah. What did this garage's security camera capture in the cover of darkness? This mysterious figure breezes past, but from what I can make out, the stiff way it moves does not look human. Let's take a closer look. Its form too appears inhuman. Even considering the low quality of the camera, this doesn't look like any type of kid or animal I've ever seen. I'm fairly certain it's extraterrestrial. Do you have any theories? A small dog barks its head off at the door while a second one sits quietly like nothing is wrong. After barking for 7 seconds, the dog tracks an invisible figure with its head, and then piano music plays, followed by a faraway voice soothingly saying the word deer. According to the uploader, they did not hear this piano music or the voice until they watched this video. In fact, the only reason they started recording in the first place was because one dog was barking and not the other. Nobody else was in the house, and this was just before 3 a.m. A small bluish figure briefly hovers outside of a home before disappearing out of sight. It's hard to say what this is, or even how close the object even was. On one hand, it looks like it could just be a strand of hair, but the way it hangs around for so long is quite strange. This object was also somehow able to activate the doorbell cam, so it must have had some mass to do it. The person who uploaded this video claims that it's a ghost, but let me know what you think this mysterious object is. Even with video evidence, I still can't fully tell. What would you do if you heard intense screaming from an abandoned building? Post it to the Sir Spook subreddit. This video was filmed in an abandoned office. The clip shows the person filming climb up some stairs in a dark, very buggy building. Some eerie screaming and whistling is heard from somewhere beyond. As he continues through the building, entering another room, the agonizing screaming gets louder. He walks closer and closer to another room, but seems to have finally met something that scared him enough to flee, although I'm not sure why those screams weren't enough to begin with. Many in the comments agree that the screaming would have sent him running for the hills. Some even suggest that the Redditor should have called the authorities, as it sounds like someone was in distress. As Britain on Reddit noted, why were you going further? Redditor SRGB Ski remarks that it sounds like someone was being jumped and the filmer walked in on it. Any way you slice it, that sound certainly stays with you. This video has become quite popular in the Spanish YouTube community, but I wanted to shed some light on its origins. This clip is from the web series The Haunting of Sunshine Girl Network. Posted in January of 2012, the uploader wonders if her studio is haunted. In the video, she claims that she hasn't been down in the studio for a couple months because of what happened. What happened was that she heard someone speak while she was down there alone. She explains that her brother had been down there several times, and her brother went through every room but found nothing. Being as it seems the coast is clear, she wants to finish the video she'd previously been filming. But as she begins with the turning board, a dark figure, well, half of a dark silhouette figure really, exits the room far behind her and can be seen passing into the next room. Seeing the thing reflected in the mirror in front of her, the girl sprints out of the room full stop, racing up the stairs and banging on the door. Many in the comments are calling the apparition scary and creepy. YouTuber Bree Naylor writes, "Maybe it wasn't a good idea to watch this at 4:08 in the morning. It's bad enough I get scared just sitting in the living room, and then I watch this. I'm almost in tears. Are you watching at 4:08 in the morning too? Don't let this clip enter your dreams, but do check out the full Haunting of Sunshine Girl Network series. It's definitely worth the watch." This one is The Thing Nightmares Are Made Of, published in October of 2014. The footage begins with a vehicle driving down a dark road at night. After a bit of driving, he comes across a vehicle with its emergency brakes on in the middle of the road. The driver goes around this vehicle, but not much further. He has to slow down again, as there's a man with a baby stroller wandering down the road. He comes closer and closer. For some reason, the driver starts laughing. He puts the car into reverse. I'm not sure if laughing would be my first reaction, or any reaction for that matter, but he keeps backing up slowly as the man with his baby stroller continues to pursue. Then he starts running at them. He's closing in, but the driver starts reversing faster. Finally, he loses the creep, as everyone in the comments section of this video is asking, why? Why is this man pushing a baby stroller? Why down the middle of the road? Why late at night? Some in the comments were also a bit concerned. Savannah Rose wrote, "What if he had a kid in there?" Well, John Garza posted a theory. They are trying to rob you. Seen this in Corpus Christi, Texas. Whether this baby stroller man was trying to rob anyone or not, one thing's for certain, he should get another tactic. Here's why you should never look down during a hailstorm.
I felt the shockwave from that.
A bolt of lightning cracks across the brick wallway in front of him. I felt the shockwaves, he says as he runs inside, but in truth, he's lucky he didn't feel something a lot worse. The moral of this scary video, if there is one, is to never go outside during this kind of weather. No exceptions. Not even the doorstep is safe. This video shows a concerned sister checking in on her sleeping sibling. I'm not sure why she would be holding a camera to do so, but I guess she wanted to record the moment. A girl she has never seen before is hovering over her sister's bed without saying a word, and when she turns to leave to get help, the ghostly child teleports in the doorway to block her.
Lee, you alright? Oh my god!
The girl standing in the door does look like the same girl who is just standing by the bed. They are wearing the same outfit and have the exact same hair length and color, so I guess it's possible that this was a spirit. Then again, if this was staged, then maybe there was a second girl who was standing in the doorway the whole time to make it look like they teleported. Who you gonna call? Likely this Russian YouTuber after watching this video. The YouTuber writes in Russian, "When I started the project, I did not even imagine that it would get such results. Thousands of your posts about missed moments in Ghostbuster." The YouTuber explains that in past videos that he's posted, subscribers have found paranormal looking figures in the abandoned buildings he's explored. He ghost busts a couple of these myths, showing that looks can be deceiving. Looks to be a white figure beyond in the shadows of a darkened room. Dima explains that it was actually 2 pieces of white paper taped to the wall. However, he admits that other experiences do stump him. In one estate, something dark appears to be sliding slowly up a doorway in a room beyond. He concludes that it was either a bat rather than something paranormal, or that considering the estate is in the middle of Moscow, something else was on the premises and stuck their hand around the corner to see if he'd notice. Lastly, while exploring an estate, a ghost is seemingly captured peering from under the archway of a room. At this point during his exploration, Dima admits that a chill ran through his entire body. This one appears to stump Dima's, and he asks his viewers if they want him to return to this place and try and recreate the scene and its circumstances to figure out once and for all what happened here. Do you want to know? Or do you think the undead are best left undisturbed? A Redditor named Bunny Toes posted a really bizarre video on the Chills Narrator subreddit that's worth further analysis. She says she was deleting random videos taken by her young grandkids when she came across this strange moment in her old house, which she has since moved directly because of what you're about to see. Her grandchild innocently passes over a shadow figure standing at the foot of her bed. Bunny Toast says this happened a day before her mother-in-law's birthday, who used to live with them for 6 years and recently passed. She has no doubt that this is her mother-in-law visiting her from the other side. This could be a real ghost sighting, but you do see Bunny Toes at the beginning of this video, so it might have been her walking away. I guess I'm willing to believe her, because most people would recognize themselves on camera, and the uploader is adamant that the shadow figure in the video is simply not her. This video resolution, which is fairly good quality, or at least better than most, catches a statue moving its eyes. From 8 seconds to 12 seconds, the statue has heavy eyelids that are almost shut. The person recording stops for a second to adjust the lighting, and that's when the statue apparently opens its eyes. Well, this would be bizarre to witness in person. I think this moving statue is a simple camera trick using angles and lighting. In the beginning, they record the statue at an upward angle with low lighting to make the eyes look more closed, but then they record at a downward angle with more lighting to increase the level of detail and make the eyes look more open. It's an interesting trick, but I doubt it's real. Or at least, that's what I think. Do you think it's real? This family has been affected by dark magic for years. They believe it's witchcraft because they found unexplained earth crosses and voodoo dolls outside their home. This professional has come to release them from the bad energies. She starts by doing a ritual.
¿Estás bien? ¿Estás bien? Acá conmigo. ¿Estás bien? No la voltees a ver a ella, acá conmigo. ¿Estás bien? ¿Quién eres?
And then the ritual intensifies.
¿Quién eres? No, acá, conmigo. Aquí conmigo. ¿Quién eres? Acá conmigo. Respira. Respira. ¿Estás acá conmigo? ¿Estás en pie?
The victim is then released from the ropes.
Voy a romper tus ataduras. Voy a romper lo que no permite que tú puedas seguir adelante. No, te voy a cortar las ataduras, te voy a liberar. Respira, te voy a liberar.
The woman then balances what looks like a glass of milk atop the possessed lady's head.
No hay nada que te retenga. Tranquila. La luz divina te cubre. La luz de la divinidad te cubre. La luz divina te cubre. Esto se me va.
She becomes weaker.
Siéntate. 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 Cuidado. Ahí estás. Ahí estás. Ven.
And it truly looks like something is possessing her.
Tranquila. Estás conmigo.
Whatever is haunting her is hurting her.
coli.
This pair is connected somehow.
Tranquila. Tranquila. Respire. Respire. Respire.
The woman tries to catch her breath calmly.
Respire. ¿No qué? A ver. Acá, arriba conmigo. Aquí. Respire. Respire. Inhale y exhale. Despacito. Inhale y exhale.
And then they both appear to be released from the spell.
Hola. ¿Cómo estás? Aide. ¿Cómo estás? Regresa, muñeca, regresa. Regresa, Aide.
I find this whole ritual intriguing. Not only are the steps involved interesting, but it seems to have worked. But will it last? I guess only time will tell. It's a shark, it's a duck, it's neither of those things at all. In September of 2017, YouTuber Jack Heath posted this video of an unidentified creature swimming in a river. He asks his audience to weigh in, saying his friends couldn't decide if it is a shark or a duck. The short clip shows a dark river at night, lights reflecting off the water. For a good 20 seconds, you can't see anything at all, although you can hear voices speculating on whether something unseen is a shark or a duck. That is, until this spooky ghost white creature nearly surfaces at the edge of the water.
It's a duck! I'm sorry. Oh, That is exactly how it happens, so here it comes.
Doesn't look like a shark or a duck at all. As YouTuber Tweedle notes in the comments, his friends were obviously talking about what caused the wake in the water earlier in the clip, not this unidentified monster that briefly appears up close towards the end. Is a plesiosaurus or something like that. He writes, though they're originally from a time period of many millions of years ago, so are alligators. They're thought to be extinct, but maybe they're not. After all, they wouldn't be the first creature thought to be extinct that's found to be still alive. While this might seem like a good guess, the OP mentions in the comments that the ghastly creature was just an eerily convincing art installation. Whoever thought art could make your heart stop? While exploring an abandoned paper mill, the crew from YouTube channel Blow6 captured two mysterious events simultaneously, an EVP and an apparition. To me, the apparition is clear as day. You see it emerge from the right to the center of the screen, as if it's drifting down the tunnel, but the EVP is not as clear. It sounds like a bird cawing. That's not the only mysterious thing about this clip. I also noticed a strange flicker in the light at the beginning of the video. Watch the backlight closely. Was that a camera glitch? Or is some entity fiddling with the light switch? I think this phantom is up to something. A doll that speaks is not mysterious, but a doll that speaks when it has no batteries certainly is. That's apparently exactly what this doll can do. If someone could please tell me what brand of doll this is, and also translate what is being said here, then maybe we can help solve this mystery.
Hola, encantante conocerte. Podemos ser amigos.
They examine the doll for a hidden battery compartment, and ultimately find nothing. A boy records the scenic view outside of his window, as passengers often do. When he looks up to record an oncoming plane, he accidentally picks up a fast-moving disc-like object traveling in the opposite direction. Looking at it frame by frame, the small flat rectangle is abnormal and does not change shape or gain detail as it moves across the screen. It's definitely not wildlife, and it's too small to be a drone, not to mention up way too high. So what could it be, aside from the possible UFO? Others have pointed out that the trail left behind by the other plane looks odd as well. I think it looks like normal vapor trails created by engine exhaust, but I could be wrong. Does it look suspicious to you? And do you think these two events, the UFO and the other plane, could somehow be related? Passengers are boarding this airplane in Thailand, but how is this possible when the entrance is disconnected from the airport? Are these people or spirits? You decide. As a counterpoint, someone pointed out that there could have been a second entrance here on the other side. The people could be traveling in an L-shaped tunnel, but since we can't confirm it from this angle, both explanations are plausible. Thank you so much for getting me to 50,000 subscribers here on my Clips channel. If you want to support, please press that subscribe button. Let's get to 60,000 subscribers next. Thank you.